Welcome to episode 3 of the Month End Show, the show for go-to-market professionals where we visit all of the best bits from the month on MEDDIC Media. Let's take a look at what we have coming up on this month's show.
Biggest thing that people get wrong with decision criteria is they're just reactive with it.
Yeah, okay. Cannot change it.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, this month I'm looking at the people in our industry who, despite having careers that benefit from sales, have the audacity to throw shade on the sales industry.
It's been a really good exercise to look backwards and see how loads of the stuff that we did works with MEDDPICC.
We start this month with Elite Dealers, where Pim talks to Harriet from Darktrace.
Hey, so, context of the deal. Can you give us like the high level a track of this deal?
Absolutely. So it took about 18 months to do. It was a 4 million TCV, 1 million ACV contract for just one part of our solution. So lots of good upsell opportunity there as well. But yeah, it was a lot of work and effort went in, but I'm excited to chat about it today. One of the things to note is that obviously Darktrace only just started with MEDDPICC. So we only started in August 2023 to learn MEDDPICC, and it's been a super exciting journey so far. But none of the deal had anything like MEDDPICC didn't exist for me. So I didn't know how to apply it correctly, but it's been a really good exercise to look backwards and see how loads of the stuff that we did works with MEDDPICC, just has different words. And, it's nice to be able to correlate between the two and see how actually MEDDPICC was a huge part of the process and how in the future I can learn how to use it more successfully, hopefully.
Right. I mean, that is a great sort of setup for the rest of this conversation, right? Because what I'm hearing you say is almost like retrospectively, looking through the MEDDPICC lens, you are able to understand some of the things that went really well in that deals, and then as part of using MEDDPICC as a common language, replicate them going forward. Would that be fair to say?
It's exactly that, yeah. And also nice to be able to talk about it internally with my team and work out who the champion was, who the economic buyer was. And it's very clearly there. And the people, and the processes aligned, like the decision process or paper process. It makes sense, but it's nice to be able to apply MEDDPICC to it retrospectively. And yeah, again, moving forward to other deals, I'll be able to use that now in the correct way.
Super interesting points from Harriet there. The thing with MEDDPICC in that context, particularly from a qualification perspective, is that even though Darktrace and Harriet in particular are already doing a number of things we would class as best practice, if you overlay MEDDPICC on top of them, it just makes everything more cohesive. So you could have a case where you're an organization doing things really well, best practice left to right, but adding MEDDPICC just adds that layer of communication, that common language, just to level everybody up. That whole episode is full of absolute gold. Be sure to check it out in the links below. Okay, next we are going live to our man in the field, Randy Blonc. Randy, what are you looking at this month?
Hey Andy, yeah, this month I'm looking at the people in our industry who, despite having careers that benefit from sales, have the audacity to throw shade on the sales industry. Take this Muppet here. This person, despite being a successful founder with an exit under their belt, throws shade onto sellers by trying to make this condescending joke about giving out tote bags at an exhibition to tell people that they're not interested. Where to begin? Well, first, let's start with what kind of a Muppet walks around an exhibition if they're not interested? What do you do in your spare time, David? Visit car showrooms, travel agents, tattoo parlors? Do you take offense when the staff approach you there? Because, it's kind of stupid to walk around a vendor exhibition and not be interested in learning about the, let me just check notes. Yeah, the exhibitors. Bet you're the kind of guy who goes to a rock and roll concert and complains the music is too loud. Secondly, the term save your sales pitch is so condescending. It's insinuating that it's a bad thing to have a pitch. If you're genuinely interested, like a person who walks up to an exhibition stand should be, then surely you want a pitch. You want to know what the solution can do in the most succinct and polished manner, right? Or would you prefer ill thought out waffle? Third, pushy salesman, it's 2023, not 1993. The industry thankfully has more women in it than ever before, largely thanks to folks being more open-minded and self-aware. Folks who don't turn away women from the industry by saying things like pushy salesman anymore. Not to mention that the whole concept of a salesperson being pushy died out in the 90s. Wake up, bozo. Finally, and perhaps the thing that annoys me the most about this post, is the dweebs who support it, especially those in sales. Like this Muppet, whose headline is Sales Leadership. I click on his profile, reveals that he is an SDR leader, a leader of the role that is most commonly working the exhibition stands that you're throwing shade on. He should be ashamed. It's people like you, David, who benefit from sales yet don't respect the industry that actually leads you to the outcome you fear worst. Bad salespeople. Perhaps the reason we have such disdain for sales is that your behavior only attracts poor sellers. The best salespeople in the world don't respond to job adverts. The jobs find them. They do their research. No good salesperson will work with someone who disrespects the industry of sales like you do. So good luck having to settle for a lower quality seller who doesn't research their boss before joining their company. Do better, David. Back to you in the studio, Andy.
Pretty bold perspective there, Randy, but fair points. Founders that don't value sales, they don't realize that the most likely reason they have a low opinion of sales is that their own behavior not only attracts the worst sellers to work for them, but keeps the best sellers away from them. Okay, 2 weeks ago we hosted MEDDICON free, and the team took over my YouTube channel to film behind the scenes. Everything didn't quite go to plan as the events platform decided to stop working just before we went live. It led to quite a frantic view of how the team coped under pressure. Here's a preview of the full video, which you can catch a link to at the end of this episode or in the links below.
I go quiet on 2, 1.
Andy, what happened?
I know it was working fine a minute ago, so...
Wi-Fi went off in the middle of rehearsal.
Everything is fine.
Good luck.
Let's go, MEDDICON!
Now it's time for a commercial break. We'll see you in 2. Hello, future billionaires. I'm Andy White, the author of the groundbreaking new book, Be Them to Be Them. Do you ever wonder what it takes to be as successful as Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Steve Ballmer, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, or Andy White? Well, wonder no more. And one more thing. Think different. Think different. Think different. You need to do more than just want to be them. You need to be them to be them.
Marketers. 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 Yes! Yes!
Ready for takeoff.
You need to be them to be them. You need to be them to be them. Alexa, order me 100,000 copies of Be Them to Be Them.
Andy, isn't Jeff American?
Why does that matter? This is me. I'm ordering my book. Bring it on, Elon. I'll see you in the VR. So if you're tired of just being ordinary and you want to be them, then grab a copy of Be Them to Be Them. It's not just a book, it's a transformation. Yours for only $999.99, because if you want to be a billionaire, you've got to spend like one. Be Them to Be Them, available exclusively in Borders bookstores. Okay, next up, we are with the MedMen talking about decision criteria. Roll the VT, Ali.
And then the maybe joint biggest thing that people get wrong with decision criteria is they're just reactive with it. And what I mean by reactive is they go and find out what it is, and then they react and sort of tune their pitch.
And so they accept it for what
it
is.
Yeah, okay.
Cannot change it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. It's locked in now, and you know, we're gonna have to do our best to make ours sound as good as it can against this criteria. When, you know, like we just said, even if the customer has a very, very clear from their side decision criteria, like we said, it's unlikely that it's going to be good for you. At best, it's going to be, you know, agnostic, sort of neutral. And if you just sit back, you're not really kind of you're not really doing any what I would class as professional selling. You are just sort of answering questions about your solution. You are demonstrating your vanilla solution rather than, you know, solution selling.
That example of the architect actually came from a real life example with one of our colleagues, Lee. He didn't extend, he opted for the loft conversion instead, and critically, he went with the architect who had first advised him down that route. That's all we've got time for this week. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next month. And until then, may your champions be strong.